Moka Praneeth. The main objective of this press conference today is to make you people aware about a condition called fatty liver. And this condition is rising in incidence all over the world, especially in India, especially in this lockdown and COVID period. The reasons are many. One of them is the sedentary lifestyle and the quantity and quality of food that is being consumed. And this condition is not as innocuous as thought by a common man. The reason is that the many patients with fatty liver, some of them, a significant percentage of patients with this fatty liver progress to a condition called liver cirrhosis, which means irreversible damage of liver. So subsequently the liver may get decompensated and they may develop conditions like jaundice and ascites. Some of them may go on to need liver transplantation. So these complications, many of these complications are likely to happen. So please, obese people and overweight people, be careful about your lifestyle and diet. If you are careful, it will make you healthier, and the fatty liver in the early stages may regress. So we advise strongly for all the overweight and obese patients to come to us and get screened to know whether you have fatty liver or not. If there is fatty liver, you can take steps in the early stage to prevent progression of that liver disease.
Having said that, the fatty liver is a big problem, and now we need to but first foremost is how to control it, how to know that I have a fatty liver, and how to know if I have, what has to be done. So the basic screening, we can screen ourselves only if there is any sudden onset weight gain, or if there is any pain in the right side of abdomen, or if we feel that a lot of belly is spouting out recently, that it means that the same amount of fat is getting accumulated in liver, and these are the situations. Or a normal diabetic person also should undergo screening to rule out whether there is any fatty liver. Once we decide that we need to go for screening, usually ultrasound abdomen is fairly good enough to know whether there is fatty liver or not. On ultrasound we can see whether there is a grade 1, grade 2 or grade 3 fatty liver, and along with it screening for diabetes in the form of HbA1c, lipid profile to see how are the triglycerides and other lipid parameters. And if all these are deranged, that means there is a risk factor as well as involvement of liver with the fat. And once this is there, then comes the treatment. So once I come to know whether there is fatty liver to me, how should I treat? It involves 3 components. First is change in ourselves. Then whether there is any concern because of this, so consult a doctor, and then comes the medication. So what change in ourselves we should do? I feel it is a mandatory for every human being nowadays to walk at least 10,000 steps per day, because whatever food we are eating, we are hardly able to digest it. All the food what we take is getting inside the body, getting converted into fat, and we are able to see everyone has a pouting belly. So a 10,000 steps per day is a best guru mantra to decide whether, and now everyone having smartphone, it is very easy to track it. Second comes diet. So anyone who is more than 40 years of age, my recommendation is to only have 2 meals per day. That means early in the morning 1 full meal, and in the evening 1 meal. In between, try to avoid food. If you are feeling hungry, try to take only vegetables or maybe fruits which are not containing sugars, or just a buttermilk or something like that. Avoid taking frequent tea. Though we feel that it's just a small cup of tea, but a tea with sugar itself causes a lot of insulin stimulation and then deposition of fat, and that leads to more of these components of fatty liver or dyslipidemia or development of or aggravating the present diabetes. So the frequent tea intake is also dangerous. Then comes the diet. What type of diet is good? Most of the time our now food has become predominantly carbohydrate rich, means either rice only, or roti more, or a bread, or junk foods, or a lot of people take cold drink at least once or twice in a day. These are all direct sugars. So these sugar go inside body and get converted into fat. So if we can cut down this, we can immediately see a lot of weight loss in all these candidates. Yeah, and after this diet, if you have still persistent problem, then you can consult a doctor and start on medication. There are few medication which help in early regeneration of the liver or replacement of when the fat loses from our body. Same thing happens with the liver. So hepatocyte starts regenerating. In those cases, it needs a lot of supplement in the form of mineral, vitamins, and there are few medications like vitamin E. They may help in reversing of the fatty liver. So overall, why we are stressing so much is it's a preventable disease, and we can avoid a lot of future consequences just by having 10,000 steps, 2 fixed meals, per day and plenty of water. See, most of the patients come in the grade 1 fatty liver or grade 2. Few of them who progress to grade 3 and grade 4, those are the very critical places where they may land up in a big problem. We have ultrasound abdomen as a basic screening, and once the fatty liver is there, then we ask them to get a fibroscan done. So fibroscan helps us to know with the stiffness. Usually the liver is as soft as this muscle or this, but when it gets fatty, it becomes hard. So little harder. So we can calculate that stiffness on the fibroscan, and even if that shows some concern, then in those cases we can go ahead and do MR fibroscan, which will give us objectively the content of fat in the liver without doing biopsy. And if patient has a lot of problems or concern, in those cases we can do even biopsy. And these non-invasive tests like ultrasound or fibroscan or MR fibroscan, these are without any invasion or taking biopsy. We can monitor also whether it is regressing or not. These patients, usually these are managed with lifestyle modification, diet and medications only. There is no role of surgery until unless they get complicated or develop cirrhosis and its complications.
మేము ఈరోజు జనాల్లో అవగాహన పెంచడానికి, అంటే మామూలు సామాన్య జనాల్లో ఏముందంటే ఈ మద్యం సేవించడం వల్లే ఈ ఫ్యాటీ లివర్ వస్తుంది, లేకపోతే లివర్ చెడిపోతుంది అన్న అవగాహనలో ఉన్నారు. కానీ మద్యం సేవించకపోయినా కానీ మామూలుగా స్థూలకాయము, షుగరు, బీపీ ఉన్న వాళ్ళల్లో కూడా ఈ ఫ్యాటీ లివర్ అనేది వచ్చి దానివల్ల లివర్ చెడిపోవచ్చు అనే కండిషన్ అనే మాటని జనరల్ పాపులేషన్లోకి తీసుకెళ్దామని చెప్పి మేము ఈ అవగాహన కార్యక్రమాన్ని నిర్వహించాము ఈరోజు. ఏంటంటే దీనివల్ల ఏంటంటే సో దట్ అందరూ స్థూలకాయ ఉన్నవాళ్ళు, షుగర్ ఉన్నవాళ్ళు, హై రిస్క్ పాపులేషన్ వాళ్ళు వచ్చి అల్ట్రాసౌండ్ స్కానింగ్ చేయించుకుంటే ఒకవేళ ఫ్యాటీ లివర్ ఉంటే దానికి తగ్గ టెస్టులు చేసుకుని, ఒకవేళ నేను పర్సనల్గా ఫ్యాటీ లివర్ ఉన్నవాళ్ళు నా దగ్గరికి వచ్చినప్పుడు షుగర్ టెస్టింగ్ చేస్తే ఫస్ట్ టైం షుగరు, కొలెస్ట్రాల్ ఎక్కువగా ఉండడం అవన్నీ నేను పర్సనల్గా ఐడెంటిఫై చేశాను. సో ఈ ఫ్యాటీ లివర్ ఇండైరెక్ట్ ఇండికేటర్ అనమాట. సో వాళ్ళకి షుగర్ ఉందా, ఇంకేమైనా అసోసియేటెడ్ రిస్క్ ఫ్యాక్టర్స్ ఉన్నాయా అని. సో ఫ్యాటీ లివర్ అనేది బినైన్ కండిషన్ కాదు, అంటే దీనివల్ల ఏమీ ఈ హాని జరగదు శరీరానికి అనేది ఉండదు. దీనివల్ల హాని జరుగుతుంది. ఏంటంటే దీనివల్ల కూడా లివర్ చెడిపోవడము, లివర్ క్యాన్సర్ రావడము, లివర్ ప్రోగ్రెస్ అయ్యి లివర్ డిసీజ్ ప్రోగ్రెస్ అయ్యి ఎండ్ స్టేజ్ లివర్ డిసీజ్ రావడం, దానివల్ల లివర్ క్యాన్సర్ రావడము, దానివల్ల ట్రాన్స్ప్లాంటేషన్కి వెళ్ళిన పేషెంట్స్ బోల్డంత మంది ఉన్నారు. సో దీని అవగాహన ఎందుకంటే దాని వల్ల వచ్చే చెడు పరిణామాలన్నీ ముందరే తగ్గించుకోవచ్చు. ఏంటంటే బరువు తగ్గడం ద్వారా, రెగ్యులర్గా ఎక్సర్సైజ్ ద్వారా, తిండిలో మార్పులు చేయడం ద్వారా, అంటే రిఫైన్డ్ కార్బోహైడ్రేట్స్ ఎక్కువగా తీసుకోవడం, అంటే సింపుల్ షుగర్స్ అంటే తీపి పదార్థాలు, స్వీట్స్ అవి ఎక్కువగా తినడం, అలాంటివి తగ్గించడం, కొవ్వు పదార్థాలు తగ్గించడం, అవన్నీ చేయడం ద్వారా వాటి ద్వారా జనాలకి మంచి జరుగుతుంది.